Good evening, everyone. Welcome into today's video. It's just going to be a quick review of today's price action. Again, we're still going to be reviewing these type of days, reviewing days after market closes. I'm not going to be trading any of my accounts, live funds, or anything like that until next year, the second week of January. I'll start looking at price again with those intentions in mind. But I will be paper trading if I take any trades or anything I like. If not, then no trades at all, and just kind of like waiting for the day to end and then back testing. So we finished trading for the year yesterday. The video is uploaded for yesterday's trade. But yeah, let's go over today. So here at 9 a.m., we just are very bullish. We just have a very nice open here. And I do want to note this high. That isn't quite swept at that 9 a.m. open, and is immediately swept with NQ, showing us very much bullishness. It is a no news Friday, so not expecting a whole lot, right? Not expecting a whole lot, but keeping in mind that we can start pushing higher. So let's see what kind of price action we got today. If we did good by calling it a year there. But it looks like we did, because this price action doesn't look ideal. It looks very choppy, right? There was a trade that I did paper trade here. I did like this here. And it all starts from this. Once we've expanded, I'm expecting nothing but consolidation, right? I remember hopping on the charts on my phone, and I saw that we had already consolidated and then had expanded higher, but not quite taken this buy side here on NQ, right? We created relative highs right there. And on top of that, we've also created more engineered buy side here by all these highs right here. High, failed to take the high, failed to take the high, and so forth, right? So this area of interest is interesting to me. And then obviously we have the high here, and then we have the ultimate high. Now, what can we wait for? We want to wait for some type of retracement, right? We want to wait for some retracement into a higher time frame PD array, 15-minute, and so we got that here, right? We were inside of 15-minute, inside of 5 as well. And if we look on ES, if we look on ES, same thing. Small 15-minute. We're holding the order block here, and you expect the price to push us higher, right? So just using that to kind of start framing that bullishness that we're holding from all this, right? And then the S&T that had been put in here, we had retraced lower on NQ, failed to retrace lower on ES. So this low should be protected hypothetically if we are going to be pushing higher. And so we push high enough only to create relative highs, and then we start displacing lower. And that's when we come and mitigate all these unmitigated PD arrays here. And then we find a nice displacement here on this candle here at 150. We create an order block, and we have a very similar setup to the one we took yesterday, where we have an inverse, we displace, and then we leave a nice order block here, right? An inverse. So your stop would have to be below this low. And this is how the trade was looking. And of course, I'm not trading this with the real money, so obviously there's not that emotional aspect behind it. But I just entered right on the order block, so around right here, and my stop was below here. And I was not asking for too much. I was just simply asking for these relative highs. And I just let the trade play out, right? I didn't manage it or nothing. I just placed the trade, and then I would come back at the end of the day and see if this worked out. Now look at all this. This is not ideal. This is not good. As you can see, the trade did play out, but just look at how much trouble you would have gone through, and then the trade decides to come all the way back down, right to where you got filled, find support at the same area and same PD arrays we had marked prior, or had been noting prior, right there. It continues to show support here at your inverse. There we go. And the original setup here, right? Then we displace all the way up high in literally 1 minute. That's insane. At almost end of day. So this is why this December price action for me is no longer my cup of tea. The closer we get to Christmas, the more I'm just staying away from all this. Only reason why I put this trade on: one, it's paper; two, I did like the trade; and three, I wanted to see how something like this would play out end of day without me touching my stop and without me touching my take profit, just leaving the orders there. And whenever it gets filled, it gets filled. So very mechanically got filled there and then got filled there. But if I were to see this live, honestly, if I was already at this point, I probably would have taken a partial just to secure some profits. And then I probably would have moved my stop to break even or maybe trailed it below this low, honestly. And then I would have got stopped out in profit. And then I would have seen this, would have been rather frustrating. But at the end of the day, this is why you don't want to be in this type of price action. It can be very frustrating, especially for beginner traders. You know, this can be very tough to read, but again, everything follows the model. So leaving it would be the best case scenario, but not ideal, right? And then notice the rest of the day, all we do is just chop pretty much, right? Consolidate. We're just consolidating within a range, slightly going higher. We never reach the final PT, which would have been this high. We do take this high here, right? But it's not ideal at all. After market close, yeah, no way. So yeah, just a quick little recap of today's price action. I really don't see much in here besides the trade that I took on paper. But again, I don't think I would have taken this on with real funds or a live account or anything like that, because it's just not ideal. Like I do like this SMT here, and there's another potential trade here from this SMT, right? Because it holds unmitigated PD arrays here. We're just placing higher. If you're just aiming for the previous high, right? This could be the trade. Notice, thank you, previous high. I really like the closure on this candle after we put in the SMT, right? Let's drop to the 1 minute. Let's go to the SMT. And you have a possible entry here, but I don't think I would enter this. I don't like the follow through candle on this candle here. And I also don't like that we don't close and create the next 5 minute candle until like around here. So it'd be a little too high for me to just be aiming for this. And as you can see, it nearly gets there and then fails. So we do put in an SMT there with the yes, so probably would have taken it off on the yes. But that's why, yeah, it's just not ideal. Then we come down, retest it, potentially in a setup here. Let's see if we have something after we come back and retest it. Sure enough, we have a clear fair value gap, but the respectiveness is not clear. So there's another example of, PD arrays not respecting it, but being there, right? And let's not be too greedy. Let's be honest. We probably would have aimed for this high, right? Relative to this high over here. Well, that's already been swept. But yeah, probably just this high or your standard 1 to 2, right? And you would have got filled there, and rather quickly you would have been to TP. Let's say you only wanted to target the unmitigated PD array there, then that would have been your target, and then you would have been done. But again, nothing too clear for me. This is just not something I would want to be taking in December, at least. Maybe in another month or in another market condition, yes. But yeah, so this is how this trade would look like at the bottom of the SMT. You would have to pretty much assume that SMT would hold, right? You would be convinced that this SMT would hold based on this reaction here. And you would assume that this candle next one wouldn't come and take that SMT. So if you're okay with it, then that trade would be for you. But for me personally, I don't think I would be. I would need to see confirmation. Then by the time I see confirmation, we'll be all the way up here, which I guess you can enter up here, but it wouldn't be a trade I feel comfortable with because I always like to give price space for it to come back and retrace into areas that it can come into, right? And you can have your trade like this. Just target your 1 to 2, which would have been pretty much at the high, right? Previous high here. And then if you would have got stopped out, it would have came into this unmitigated area and then head higher. But I guess those are just trades. This is all hindsight. It's a lot different than doing it live, of course. But this is probably the only trade I really, really liked. And that's why I just took it. I wasn't on the charts all day. I just happened to be on my phone around this time here when we were having a retracement. This instantly caught my attention. these highs. And, as soon as I seen a clear sign on the 1 minute displacement, I did take it. One thing to notice though, that we are inside a 5 minute SIBI. So this trade wouldn't be ideal, right? But again, it's paper, so that motion and that criteria is sometimes no longer there. You tend to be a little bit more lenient, and I'm just being honest. You tend to be a little bit more lenient with these type of trades. So that's why I entered on this candle in here when the setup presented itself. But if I was honestly live on this session and I wanted to take something, I probably wouldn't have taken it there just because this 5 minute SIBI was here and it has potential for us to go lower, right? And perhaps sweep these lows since we had just been consolidating going higher. But because we had left these highs had my attention for bullishness. So I ignored the fact that this SIBI was there. And I really like the fact that we had shown support here with this inverse, displace higher, order block. I really like that. So nonetheless, played out really nicely, but it took a long time. And I definitely probably wouldn't have the patience to hold through all of this too much. But again, hindsight can't really prove anything. It's all just back testing hindsight. But yeah, I don't want to make this video too long at all. Just want to do a quick recap. If you guys like these recaps, just give it a like or leave a comment, and then I can continue to do these until we get back into trading the second week of January. Until then, I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a good night.